Hello and welcome back, scholars. Today we are going to focus on creating a bar graph, and we are going to use this tally information, this tally chart, along with we're going to be looking at criteria for success, and then we're going to create a bar graph. So the scenario says Delicious Donuts and Company created a survey to find out the donut favorites. The survey results were as follows. Just so you know, donuts spelled this way is how many donut shops spell donuts. But you will also see donuts written in this way because the word dough, as in what is used to make bread, is spelled D-O-U-G-H. Just a little bit of information. All right, so we have our tally chart here. These are the types of donuts that were the favorites for that particular week. Cinnamon Twist received 5 votes, and these are the tally marks to represent 5. Jelly received 7 votes. These are 7 tallies. Glazed received 6 votes, 6 tallies. And Chocolate Frosted received 9 votes. These are 9 tallies. Remember, every time you see 4 vertical lines and 1 diagonal line, that represents a set of 5. So you just count 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This makes it quicker. It's a bundle of 5. All right, so now we have our information, our tally chart. Now let's look at the criteria for success. In order to be successful with this bar graph, you need to make sure you have a title, a scale, an x-axis label, a y-axis label, categories for the x-axis, and of course, most importantly, the data. So let's keep both of those pieces in mind, and let's build our graph together. So, okay, let's first start with the scale, and we're going to start with 0 at the bottom, and generally we're going to move up to 10, but always look at your data to find out if that's the top number. In this case, it is. And the top number we have is 9, but we're going to go ahead and make an even 10. And let me actually make a little bit more space because we still need the label for the y-axis, and we need room for both the scale and the label. Okay, so here we go. We have 0 here, we have 10 here. We know halfway between 0 and 10 is 5. So we're going to put 5 right about here. And let's go ahead and put the hash marks. Let's move that over just a little bit. Okay. And 0, you don't need the hash mark. And so 1 would be right about here. 2, 3. Try to make sure they're as equidistant as possible. As you can see, that's not great. It's a little too far away from the 0. Okay. Now everything needs to be moved a little bit. That's why it's a good idea to use a whiteboard for this, if possible. If you have a notebook, though, write gently so that you can erase carefully before you add any more numbers. Let's just say 7 is right about here. 6. That's not quite equidistant. 7. 8. 9. Okay, not bad. So we have our scale. So we have our first criteria for success. Okay. Then let's work on the y-axis label. Let's make this the same color. So what are these? What are these numbers representing? Usually on a y-axis, you're going to have the first words you're going to see are number of. And so what are these? Number of votes. That's how many people voted for each donut. Okay, then let's work on the x-axis. So, looking at our data, we have Cinnamon Twist. I'm going to put CT for short. jelly, J for short, glazed, G for short, and chocolate frosted, CF. Okay. We want to make sure there's space in between each one, pretty equidistant, and always turn your board or your notebook to the side so that way you have room to fit it equally in the for the graph purposes. All right, now let's create our data. For Cinnamon Twist, it was 5. So we're going to move right over here, put the line here, straight down, straight as possible, and again, some kind of shading. All right, and then we have jelly, which is 7. Okay. So move over here to the 7. Now, of course, you're going to make straighter lines than I am. There we go. That's a little bit better. Shade in the graph. And again, remember, shading means coloring in completely. But in the interest of time, we're going to use these diagonal lines. Then we have glazed, which is 6. Okay, 6. And remember, as you're creating your bar graph, you do not have to put the data in numerical order, meaning smallest to greatest or greatest to smallest. It is your choice, but data can be displayed exactly as it was in the tally chart as we are doing now. All right, chocolate frosted is 9. Okay. I think it makes it look a little more interesting when you have varied data. Shortest, tallest, medium, and then another short maybe. All right, so yay, we're finished, correct? Let's check our criteria for success to see. First one is title. Do we have a title? Do we see a title out there? Nope. All right, do we have a scale? The scale are the numbers. Yes. X-axis label. Actually, we do not have that. Y-axis label, number of votes is the Y-axis label. Yes, we have that. Categories for the X-axis, these are the categories, so we have that. And the data, we have the data. So let's go ahead and check off what we have and look at what we need. Give me 1 second. All right, so we're gonna put little changes to little squares so we can put a check mark. And this is what you want to do with your criteria for success. You always want to have a criteria for success that either you created or the teacher created so you can keep track and make sure. You won't have to ask the teacher, am I finished? Do I have enough? You will just be able to look and check it off. So do we have a title? No, we do not. Scale? Yes, we do. X-axis label? No. Y-axis label? Yes. Categories for the X-axis? Yes. And the data. So we're missing the title and the X-axis label. So let's work on those. So the title is the easiest one. It's Delicious Donuts and Company created a survey to find out donut favorites. So let's call it Donut Favorites. Donut Favorites. And now, forgive the longer video, but we want to make sure that we are complete in all of our findings. Then we have the X-axis label. So what are these? Cinnamon Twist, jelly, glaze, chocolate frosting. What are these? These are donuts, donut types. Donut types. Or types of donuts. Or you could just even say donuts. So let's look and see. We have a title. We have an X-axis label. We have all of our check marks, our boxes checked off. So that means that we are successful. And we always want to make sure that it is nice and neat and it is accurate, if we have all those done, then we are meeting all the criteria. And that's what you always want to make sure, that you fully answered the question and that you've included all the information necessary. Now, this is a longer video again, but again, use this data to help you with the next graph. Looking forward to seeing your